Welcome to our crazy life
with Clay and Wanda. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Clay.
And I'm Wanda.
And today we have our very special guest, Maren.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
We've been
morning.
trying to get you forever.
I know. And I appreciate your patience because I'm worth it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
What our listeners don't know, we have had some technical issues this morning.
Oh, yeah. Very weird.
Yeah, we're trying a new website because the other ones we used just was not working.
But we're on it now. And I appreciate learning 3 different formats that I can go back and experiment with now. So thank you for that gift, friends.
So is it snowing in Pennsylvania, Wanda?
Well, it sounds like it's raining right now, and I think that's what it was supposed to do. But I would much prefer the rain to melt all this crappy crap outside than actual more snow. Because if it was snowing as hard as it's raining right now, we'd have a problem.
See, I walked outside yesterday. It was in the 70s, and I'm like, oh, this air just feels so good. Yeah. Do I smell flowers in the air?
Clayton, I don't think you need to rub that in. Wanda's a friend, okay? Good gracious. But Wanda, you should come out and visit. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I need to.
Yep.
Yeah, she comes out, but because of the COVID, it's delayed everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid to get on an airplane or anything if it comes down to that, because like right now people don't care about everybody else. It's like, I'll wear my mask to protect myself and protect you. You do the same for me. But I honestly don't know if I could just sit through like a 5-hour plane ride with a mask on my face the entire time.
That's fair.
Well, I got my COVID vaccine, so I'm good.
Congratulations.
I don't know if it's congratulations because I didn't know that the Moderna had side effects.
Are you feeling any of them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shoot. Honey.
They're sort of tippering off, but like I've asked my other friends that got Moderna, and they're all like, I didn't have any side effects.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it all depends on the person.
Yeah, it depends because like I asked the doctor that I was working at for my externship, and I guess Moderna is the one that everyone's getting side effects from.
Oh.
And there's like an app that you can record your side effects because the CDC wants to know what's going on.
I'm sure they do. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
But now they're calling me. And I'm like, I don't want to partake in your study. I'm like, stop calling me. And I don't even know what the study's about. It's just something about COVID. And I'm like, no, stop calling. So they call me the very next day. I'm like, I already told you to lose my number.
Well, now Moderna said on the news yesterday that they're working on a booster shot for all the strains. And I'm like, so what I got isn't going to work?
You're covered for a percentage, and then they are going to try and maximize the other percentage for us later.
Oh, Lord.
I know. Just when you think we've made the crest and we're coming on the other side and it's the denouement now. Yeah, we'd be wrong. So.
Yeah, because I was in Banner this week, doing my physical for my new job. And these idiots, like, they were all concerned about my hypertension, and I was like, it's fine. And so now I need a doctor's office to write me a letter giving me permission to work. And I was like, so does this mean I don't have to work at my normal job and still get paid?
Ooh. Oh, goodness.
And I was like, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't believe me that I was on medication, and I pull up my VA portal, and I'm like, here it is.
That's so good that you have access to that, though. Can you imagine trying to do it old school?
Yeah, because they wanted to know my prescriptions, and I was like, I don't remember that.
Right. And why would you? And the percentage in which you took them, or the milligrams in which you daily had to take. Yeah. They make it too easy now.
But one thing I learned when I was working at the doctor's office is all the patients would bring in an index card of everything they were on.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just was at the doctor's, and they're like, do you still take this? And I was like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not even going to lie anymore. I don't take it, and I don't take this, and I don't take that, and I stopped taking this, and the only thing I take is this and this. And they're looking at me like, huh? And who prescribed that for you? Because, you know, we need to let them know pretty much that you're not taking your medications. And I'm like, what's the point? Like, I've pretty much taken myself off of every single one of my medications except for my hydrochloroquine, which is like the lupus medicine that I'm on that supposedly Donald Trump thought helped the COVID. So my doctor's like, you should just take that just in case that, oh my gosh, my kids, just in case that is actually true, because then at least you have that little extra protection. And then, hold on a second, I'm sorry.
Oh, she muted herself.
I love that. That was adorable. Are you kidding me? Oh, no, don't be sorry. It's life, and I love it.
No, because one of our episodes, like, she forgot to mute herself, and she was like, "You goddamn bastards, get back here!"
Oh, I did not say that. I might let the F word fly a few times. But, oh my
goodness!
But,
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm telling them that I'm only on that one medicine, and then I take my naproxen, my prescription naproxen, as needed, because that's my only pain medication. And my kidney doctor doesn't want me on it. And I'm like, well, what would you like me to take then? And she's like, Tylenol. And I was like, so you don't want me to mess up my kidneys anymore with this naproxen, but you'd rather me screw up my liver on top of everything else that's going on. I'm like, absolutely not. I'll just continue to take the naproxen. You didn't prescribe it for me, so I don't have to worry about you ever refilling my prescription. So I'm like, dude, it's just like so annoying whenever you have so many different doctors giving their opinion on this is what you need to be on, this is what you're going to be on, this is what I'm going to prescribe you, and then you go to another doctor that says, absolutely not, and this is what I think, and I'm just like,
it's hard.
At the doctor's office, I'd have to ask patients, if they were still on stuff, and I'd open up the profile, and there'd be like 100 meds in there, and I'd be like, yeah, I know you're not on all of these.
Yeah.
Oh my. I've been on so many different medications that have like not done a dang thing for me that I'm like, what's the point? And you have another doctor that wants me to get back on one. I was like, I've already been there. I've done that. Doesn't work. So yeah, no. So annoying.
It really is. And now we're bringing, kids up, all three of us. And now it's there. Oh no, we don't see that doctor anymore. Oh no, that was a couple of years ago. That needs to be updated. I still have a vaccine. I've seen the same doctor for my youngest since she was born, thinking that was the key. We're still missing a vaccine from when she was 3. I'm like, how does that happen? Wait. Oh gee. And I take the blame because I guess we were supposed to keep that little card they gave us, 13 years ago, because I remember where my keys are from yesterday, right?
Yeah, I don't even have my kids' vaccine cards. I probably should.
Yeah, it's a thing. But again, hopefully now that the government's watching and they can have our portal access, we can also have our portal access, and you won't have to worry about that stuff anymore. I hope.
Well, it did change because I got an MRI about 2 years ago at the VA, because when I was having my back pain, I was like, I want to know really what was going on, because it's because my back is so messed up. My doctors are afraid to tell me, and I'm like, I'm just going to read the MRI, and I finally found it.
Oh wow!
Because they put it in like sneaky places when you go into the portal, and I finally found it. And I was like, oh, it is bad, but now I know the region. So when I went to the ER, I was able to tell them what area. But yeah. But when I was at doctor's office, a lot of patients, all their stuff gets scanned in. And I'm like, my stuff, it's like so locked down at Banner and the VA. I'm like, I can't even get it in the portal.
Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had my MRI and I still have my discs and everything, and I'm like reading it, and I had to tell my doctor about it, and they're like, yeah. So I was like, what really concerns me is like there's one disc in my neck that is not messed up, but yet they stopped at my neck. Heck with what my back's doing, because if you have that many messed up discs in your neck, don't you think that it's going to continue down your spine? And he's like, well, yeah, that's just really weird that they didn't do that, And I'm like, I don't know. They did 2 MRIs on my neck, nothing about my back. And my lupus doctor, he x-rayed my back, but that's not going to show anything with your discs. I guess it can show up like arthritis and scoliosis and stuff, which he did say, like, I have some arthritis in my back, but nothing with scoliosis or anything. So they're like really concerned about like what's going on with my neck, because I didn't do anything to it. And it's just over time, he's like, it could be age. And I was like, I am 37 years old. Like, what? I'm young. I'm like, I'm not like 67 and something's going on because of age. Like, seriously, I'm 37. I am not old. Like, I don't know, man. Like, my kids think I'm old. But
they're allowed to, though. That's we can handle that one.
Not old. I'm not old until I'm like 60. I'm like, maybe you can call me old, depending on like how I am. But lately, like, I've been feeling really good, so I feel young. Good. I feel younger than what I have been. But I mean, now if this was this time last year, I probably would be like, yeah, I feel like 87 today. So
right.
I have a hard time getting out of bed.
Well, for me, the VA was concerned about me mixing up my medication, so they were a doll, and the pharmacy sent me an old lady pill box.
Oh boy, we've reached that stage, huh?
Yeah, and last night I put the pills in, and Randy walks up to me. Oh, that's so cute that you're organizing your pills.
I'm sorry to laugh.
I was like, whatever, get away from me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I love my one doctor. They're like, you need to bring your pill bottles to you. And by like this, I'm like, I don't think so. I'll bring a list. So I typed up a list, and this was before I got myself off of everything. Well, actually, it was even after that, but I was still telling them I was taking it. But yeah, I'm like, I'm not bringing 15 bottles with me. Mm-hmm. So you can just write all this down. And why do you need to know this? I mean, it's the same as it was 3 months ago when I was here. I'm like, dude, nothing changed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my kidney doctor should be real thrilled to see me when I go back. And I have a habit of not getting my labs done, so they always call me with a nasty message. We never got your labs, so you can just not come tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, oh well for you. I'll just reschedule when I have my labs done, so I don't have to worry about getting them in the process of my appointment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, when I had my physical, like the nurse that was doing it, like she was so hardcore, do this, do this, do this, do this, and she couldn't find my veins, and I was like, I'm seeing my veins right now.
Yeah.
So she takes it out of my hand, and I'm like, you're not supposed to do that, and she just didn't want to hear it. And then she was like, you're too young for hypertension, and I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how is that going to help me?
Yeah, thank you for that. So meaningful. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, whenever I was at the doctor's, I got on this, like, the nurse that took me back. I'm like, dude, like, she was so mean. She got me on a scale, and I'm like, dude, I'm like in the process of like losing the weight. I don't want to see what it says. Mm-hmm. But I looked up. I was standing there long enough to know what it said, and she's like, I got off. She's like, you need to get back up there. I'm like, how do I stand here and look at that number, but yeah, you can't write it down?
You're like, I can help you. I can help you.
Well, I just need to make sure. I'm like, oh my god. And then whenever I go, I have to get my height every time I'm there. And I'm like, it's always different. Like, there's no shoes whatsoever on, but someone always has it different. I always either gain 2 inches or lose 2 inches. It's never what I really am. And it's just like, you people are very incompetent at your job. Like, for real.
My gosh. 2 inches difference? That's amazing.
Yes. And then whenever I go in, I have to stand in front of this iPad looking thing to get my temperature taken, which was new. And I'm like, this is interesting. So it said like 97.3 or something. And I'm like, that's wrong. So they said I'm good to go, though. But whenever I go back in the back, it says like 99.8. And I'm like, that sounds a little better for this place. But my blood pressure was actually good, and it's always jacked up there. And they always try to tell me, well, it's actually not there. It's my kidney doctor. Like, I could literally go there the same day, and whenever I go to my lupus doctor, it's perfectly fine, or it might be a little elevated, but it's still normal. But then whenever I go over to her, they had me like 180 over 105, and I'm like, yeah, that ain't right. You need to fix your machine. And they're like, we calibrate it every morning. And I was like, there's no way. But,
well, those machines aren't entirely accurate.
Yeah, well, it would make sense, but I don't understand how they can be that far off, within a matter of 3 hours. Not doing anything strenuous to get my blood pressure all like that high to go to the next appointment or anything, but it's just like insane. I think doctors do that sometimes just to try to get you like on more medicine. Like, oh. And she had me on a blood pressure medicine too, because they were supposed to do a biopsy of my kidney about, 3 years ago. But she had me on that and the Lasix and everything. But, yeah, every 3 months I'd go. She's like, oh, well, we're just going to hold off on doing the biopsy and I'll see you back in 3 months. And I'm like, no. You know what? What's the point of you coming here? So if I don't want to go and I don't want to call to reschedule, I just don't go get my labs done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then I'll just go get them done whenever I'm ready for them to be like, we received your labs, so we're just calling to reschedule your appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. I don't have time for their game. I'm not dying, so I don't feel the need that I have to go every 3 months.
Right, and we're kind of grateful for that, yeah.
Oh my gosh, my kids, they were doing so good the entire time we were trying to get on those things, and now they want to start acting like people.
Because we got connected. They sense it. They know.
Yes, it's like getting on the phone. You're perfectly fine all the time until you have to make a very important phone call, and then you got kids screaming in the background.
Indeed.
Every time.
I love it.
So, Maren, why don't we hear your screaming kids?
Because they are still sleeping. They are in the range of the newly teen and smack dab teen, and they would sleep until 1 if we let them. So I'm letting them this morning because it's safer that way, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Except for Zach here, he was up at 6 when I got up.
Was he really? Well, yeah.
He's always awake, and you never hear that boy. It is so nice. I wish my kids could take a little lesson from him.
Oh, sweet.
It's called give them an iPad.
That's a thing too. Yeah. Yep.
They have their phones, they have the video game, but they still have to have, like, Roman is seriously just hitting, like, with a game box. Like, what is going on? Now you'll hear someone screaming because they got hit in the eye or something. Right. It's just so annoying.
I guess Randy heard me saying, oh, yeah, they're still asleep. So Randy's like, I'm up.
I'm up. I'm awake.
Was that who I heard? It sounded like, he's like, I heard you say Zach's name, so I just came out to see.
Oh.
He's snapping his fingers.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah, but this week was crazy. Oh, so exhausting.
When do you transition from old job to new job? Are you in that? I mean, you are in transition, but okay.
Yeah, because I'm going to stay at my current job, and then my new job is just a weekend.
Okay.
And people think I'm crazy. They're like, why do you want to work on the weekend? I was like, because I love doing the medical assistant stuff. Mm-hmm. And I got hired at urgent care, and I'm like, I'm going to see some really good stuff.
Well, yeah, you are.
Oh, which urgent care? A bunch of them. Yeah, because I'll be primary at one urgent care, but if they're short at another one, I may just have to filter over there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I had to buy new scrubs because at Banner, every profession is a different color.
Oh,
that's here.
You guess I have to be light blue.
Yeah, you can actually tell, at the hospital, what department you work in just by your scrub colors. And it's really weird because they have them up in every single room, and it's just what am I, what's the matter to me? I'm like, I don't know, but like an RN's a different color than an LPN, and and what do they call it? Environmental services crew. They're something totally different. And then
the janitors.
What's that? The janitors. But they don't call them janitors there. They call them the environmental services. And I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I've heard that before.
Yeah, because they have the nurses' assistants in the same color as the medical assistants. And I'm like, I went to school for almost a year, and they went to school for a month.
Yeah, yeah. And that's fair. I think that is a reasonably fair assessment. Yeah.
But I mean, I can do everything that a nurse does except for, put IVs like in the back. Like, I'm not touching anyone's spine.
I don't blame you. Whew.
Yeah, because the doctor knows all that. I learned everything like really hands-on and got proficient except for drawing blood because he did not want to do that.
Oh, how funny.
And they told me, they're like, you better get up on your skills. And I was like, all right. But I enjoyed all the needle stuff at school.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
That's amazing.
I even have a dummy arm that I can fill up with liquid.
I remember this. I remember the pictures on social media. I'm like, oh, that's my friend. How cool is that?
Yeah, when I told Chad I'm going to be digging it back out, he was like, oh.
Oh, here we go. So cute.
Yeah, but like we keep having COVID cases at work, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Because people, I think they just don't care. They just come in, and then then they don't pass the temperature thing. And then they have all the symptoms, and we're like, you didn't see the sign on the door?
Yeah. Yeah. And what do they say to that, Clayton?
They just don't say anything. And then we have to bleach the whole area, and they don't have to do it. Not the part-timers. The full-time people, we have to go in there and clean every cubicle, every office, every hallway, even the toilets. And I'm like, no, this isn't my job.
Just because somebody wasn't aware enough to actually come to terms with reality.
Yeah, but it still is hard getting signed up for a vaccine here in Arizona.
I know. We had a whole string of a text message thread last week because, of course, we had heard that, all right, this person went to volunteer and they're in the medical field, so their friend told their friend, and this was at the municipal stadium, so not State Farm, but the Tempe/Scottsdale Municipal Stadium, and it was so confusing. And then, of course, I held back just a little bit because I had one of those experiences before where we went and we just stood in line. Thankfully not for very long, but by the time they got to us, they were turning people away. I didn't want to do that again. And sure enough, so half of the thread got it and half of the thread didn't. And it's just a matter of a guessing game. And, are you available to drive down there right now? And, I guess you make time if you really want it badly enough, or you wait and hopefully your group comes up anytime soon. So I don't know. It just they made fun of it on Saturday Night Live last night, the sign up. Yeah, it was very funny. So sad, but true. And so here we sit.
Yeah, because I made an appointment like months ago, like when they were like, oh, the medical people, we have a medical pod. And so I was not feeling good when I was supposed to go get it. So I was like, I'm not going to get it. And then I tried to reschedule and the pod was completely shut down. And so I was like, okay. And then everyone's like, oh, get your appointments. I couldn't get no damn appointment. And I wasn't going to take my chances going to the stadium.
Right.
Because that's what they keep telling us.
Yeah, you would just sit in a line, which is fine. You're taking that chance if you don't have the appointment, but it's to the best of my knowledge, from what I've heard, it's kind of a big waste of time. So,
well, a little birdie told me, they're like, well, why don't you try the grocery stores? So Albertson had a clear opened up appointment, and that's how I got mine.
Oh, it was meant to be.
Yeah, so and if you go on there, like the next week, like it's completely open, and they scheduled my second shot when I went in. But I mean, the pharmacist that was giving me the shot, he was like, "So how old are you? What do you do? Why are you here?" And I was like, "Why do you care?"
Yeah. Yeah, you had an appointment available, and I'm not taking it away from anybody else because you have more appointments available. So
Yeah, and I told him, I was like, if my only category was a heart condition, which I do have, I was like, what proof do you want? I was like, and the government said that you can't ask for proof. So yeah, because it was funny because after I got my vaccine, the VA called me and they're like, we really want you to get the COVID vaccine. How soon can you get in here? And I was like, I already got it.
Good for you, honey. Aw. Thanks to
then
Albertsons.
Yeah, Chad's wanting it, but he works at CVS and they still haven't done the green light CVS workers to get it because CVS workers, one of the workers was at my doctor's office and she had told me that they're requiring them to get a whole blood panel before they vaccinate them.
What?
And I'm like, that's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Now, okay, stupid non-medical person here, why would that be a thing? Why would you require that?
They wanted, because they were given shots, so they wanted to make sure they didn't have hepatitis. And I'm like, but if you have hepatitis and you're giving shots, you're not, unless you're purposely sticking yourself.
Yeah.
It made no sense.
So, like, you're going to have gloves on anyway, so it's not like, I don't understand.
Yeah, even our doctor was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's really odd. Ew.
Yeah, but when Banner did my whole physical, I had to take in my vaccination records, and the nurse was like, you haven't had your measles, mumps, and Rivera. And I was like, well, you need an eye check because it's on that form.
You could be doing what you're doing if you hadn't had that.
Oh, yeah, she didn't want to believe me, so she had to draw more blood. And I'm like, oh, my God, woman.
Oh, ugh, I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but major drama at work. I mean, I've been gone, so for the past 5 weeks, I've only been there one day a week.
Jeez.
And so I finally came back, and everyone's so excited, and like there's so much drama, and then people coming to me trying to get me to help them out with getting stuff done when we've already told them no, and like it's so much drama pitting everybody against each other, and I was like, I'm done because they pulled me into it Friday when I was driving home, and I was like, no. I was like, if my boss said no, I'm saying no. And they're like, well, you need to be helping people out. I was like, no, if they don't listen to us, that's not our problem.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, this has just been a stressful week.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry.
But I found a weight loss clinic, and it's also a spa.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I want to do my B12 shot. So I go in there, and I've done the B12 before, but it really didn't feel like it helped. And so she was like, well, we have a buckshot. And apparently it's B12 with all kinds of other stuff thrown in it. And you can, if you want to give yourself the shot, like you buy the shots and then like you could take them home if you wanted.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I did the buckshot and like it took like 2 days to kick in, but I feel so much more amazing than I did before.
Oh, hon. That's so good. I love that they call it a buckshot.
Oh, yeah. And then Chad's like, how much did you pay? But they have a good deal going on.
Oh, God.
Where if you get 5 shots at once, like if you pay for 5, you're pretty much getting it for half off.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. Yes. And the fact that you felt like you noticed the change, that's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll keep you coming back. So, and good for them and good for you.
So what things have been happening with you, Maren? It's hard to figure out what you're doing anymore because your Facebook's so quiet.
I know. Is that weird or what? But I would go on there, I think, and I don't know. I would love to hear from the two of you as well. Because I feel like at Christmas time, okay, no, I know when it happened. Go with me on this one. Thanksgiving, not everyone, I hate blanket statements, but I use them all the time. See, that blanket statement, I use it all the time. See what I did there? I felt like during Thanksgiving, people were trying or putting out there just super positive energy. It felt like there was this, okay, we're thankful, even though this has been one heck of a year, and we're thankful, and I just felt like social media was super popular or super positive. And I'm only on 3 platforms. I couldn't handle any more. And there's one that I shouldn't have been on in the first place, but it was highly entertaining, and my children got me off of it because they knew better. So I don't know what shifted, but I feel like then January hit, and I'm not kidding you. I felt like every time I go on to 2 out of the 3 of my social media pages, there was just all of this death. Like this person had passed, and the cat had passed, and the neighbor was missing. And I was just like, I can't, my psyche couldn't, I would feel an effect. I would get off of social media like an hour later. Oh, I'll just go on there for a couple minutes. And an hour later, I'm like, I can't, this is so sad. And I feel like I lost a sorority sister in January, and that was kind of it for me. I was like, this is not where I want to be. And I slowed down a little bit. So I still check in every once in a while. I just don't post as much. I don't really have a lot going on right now, which I guess is supposed to be a blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah.
But we got word that we are still able, and I'm very excited that our programs for the Maren Shakespeare Company's Arts in Corrections program, that they are considering allowing programming back in the prisons, in the state prisons in California in 2022, which I know is technically 10 months away, but at least we have that to look forward to. So we've still been in training. We've still been doing script analysis. We've still been doing all kinds of worksheets and videos for the California State Prison Systems, for their educational department, and of course for Shakespeare. But the idea that, well, do we just keep doing this for months and months and months and hope that our underserved population has a place for us in the next couple of years? And so to get that information that it looks like they're going to reinstate educational programming in 2022, that's really great news, and it lifted my spirits in a big way. So we're just kind of hanging in and getting through school, and I get to direct a Zoom play for Arizona Theater Company, which I'm kind of excited about. But again, I say that with a little bit of sadness, because it's a Zoom play. It's still not, where we want to be and how we want to be. But other than that, that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. The family is healthy, and I'm grateful for that. And I really now want to go get a buckshot to make myself feel energized. Thanks, Clayton, for putting that in my head.
Well, they also do Botox.
Yeah, I don't want to. If I'm going to do a needle, I'm going to do a needle in my arm, not in my face. No. And I do see a difference. I know, where I am in my age, and I'm at one with it, and I'm trying to age gracefully, but it's the energy that I miss. I'm like, nah, wrinkles and zits at the same time. That's God being evil. But my energy level, I miss it. I miss my energy. So I'm a little jealous, Clayton.
Yeah, because yesterday we're driving, and I said to Chad, I was like, I feel like I'm 22. I have so much energy.
Okay. See? That's amazing.
But then it wore off.
Yeah. Oh, well then, yeah. But it does that. I'd be okay. I don't even have any high points anymore. I feel like when I get out of bed, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for a nap.
Me too.
That's the way I felt lately. I would find myself sitting on my couch, like just dozing off, and it's just like, wake up.
Yeah.
You're not going to sleep tonight. And then I end up falling asleep and catching myself sleeping, wake myself back up, but then I won't sleep tonight. So, yeah. And then you got my husband yelling at me, "You need to go to sleep. What are you doing? Put your phone down." And I'm like, "Sorry." I'm like, I play a game on my phone to try to like get my eyes like tired, but a lot of times that doesn't work, and I'm up all night anyways. But yeah. Now for the Botox at the spa you go to, Clay, I'd do that.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah. Well, I have the forehead wrinkles, which I understand could be like you had a good life and you laughed a lot because it's like one of those things. But I also have a very expressive face. So whenever I'm like looking at someone like in like kind of like a wow state, like really, like you're really gonna, I feel my forehead going, and but so it's like 37 years of attitude up with me.
Yeah, there's no resting face. I'm with you, Wanda. Yeah. I'm there.
Like I don't have like crow's feet or anything, which is good, and it's just mainly my forehead. But I would do it in my forehead to get rid of some of those. But I mean, it also shows that you actually had a good life and you lived and you laughed and everything. So I would do it to try it, but I don't think I'm one of those people that's gonna go get pricked in the forehead every like 3 months or however often you have to do it.
Is that how often it has to be done?
It's every so many months. I'm not quite sure. I'm not big on like knowing that, but I'm pretty sure it's like 3 to 6 months because it only lasts for so long.
Yeah.
But I would do the energy shot too if it was going to give me that much energy.
That sounds amazing to me right now.
So Clay, we got the rabbit a new cage.
Oh really?
Yes. So whenever we first got him, I just got like a normal cage, and it's more for like a guinea pig size, I would think. It's like 30 inches long, and I think the width is like 18, so it's a pretty decent sized cage. But considering this rabbit can grow up to be like 12 pounds, he's getting bigger, and we've only had him for like 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's growing. So we got him this new cage. So whenever we looked at the dimensions of the cage online before we purchased it, I'm like, oh, it's not that much bigger. Yeah, so it came with extensions too. So we got those, thinking, one was a hut, like he could go and sleep in like the darkness and stuff. And the other one was just one I was gonna put like his litter in and stuff. But so this thing came yesterday after a little fiasco with my address on Friday. I had to call the company and be like, I didn't put my address in to say this, so you need to fix it. So in our town, you have north and south and east and west, and so they had a north in front of my street address, and I was like, yeah, that's a totally different part of town, not my address. So I had to call and get that fixed. Like, that's not even associated with my address. So they had to ship it back to me. And I got it yesterday morning. And whenever I went outside to my porch to get it, like, the main cage, its box was so huge, like, it was almost as tall as me. And I understand, like, I'm not the tallest person in the world, but I'm like 5'4", 5'5". So I'm like decent size for a woman. This thing was almost as tall as I was. I was like, what in the world? Gosh. So, yeah, I'm putting this thing together. I'm like, I'm really concerned. I take out one of the extension pieces, and I'm like, 2 of these would be sufficient for him. So I only have one extension piece on this thing, and it's longer than my coffee table. And I had to use my coffee table for this. So I had to move it off to the side of the room, and I'm like, he's going to come home. He's going to be so mad that I like rearranged the living room because I had to fit the same thing in here. Now that I have it all put together, but I wasn't shipping it back because then once he gets bigger, he's going to need a bigger cage anyways. But I'm like, oh man, this is interesting. So then we have a litter pan for him, and that's not going over very well. But I guess that would be as expected because you need to litter train, a cat or potty train a dog or paper train a dog, whatever you're doing, but they're going to have accidents. Well, he has his cage, like, all messed up with his litter, and it's just like, dude, like, you're not even funny. But he was, like, jumping all over the place last night in there. Like, he was having a good time.
Oh.
He's just getting too big. And now my kids used to go up to the old cage and just pull down the latch for the front door, and now it's up top, and the sides like actually open up, but I won't let them do it, and now they get so mad because they can't just easily get in there and access him. Or my youngest, he was like crawling in the cage with him in the old one, and I'm like, oh my god. Like the first top half of his body would be like just in there, and I'm like, I mean, get out. Like, that's disgusting. But yeah, it's interesting. But that's pretty much my excitement for the week that I can remember anyways. My memory's going.
Does B12 help with your memory?
What's that?
I wanted to know if B12 helps with your memory.
I don't know.
Clayton, do you have any input on that?
No, if you want to do memory, like the Jinxa Boba or whatever you call it.
Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. I wrote it down a couple because it was like St. John's wort. Hold on, let me get to my note. Ginkgo biloba. Yep. Isn't that fun? You just want to say that. Ginkgo biloba. That is, that's supposed to help with memory. I can't remember. Isn't that funny? I think Ginkgo biloba and St. John's wort help with. Yeah. So silly. Oh, I hear kids again. Awesome.
Oh, they need to be quiet. And they're far away, and they just need to be loud.
Well, I'll tell you about our black cat that we got. She just loves Chad. And it is so annoying. Because she'll be watching in the window, and if I go try to pet her, she runs away, and I'm like, what did I ever do to this cat?
Right.
But Chad comes in, and she'll be like, meow, meow.
Oh, my gosh. I'm always interested in how animals, for lack of a better word, imprint on humans. Like, why? What is it about Chad? And don't get me wrong, I think he's a wonderful person. Duh. But what is up with the cat?
Yeah, because the cat will be meowing, and I'm like, shut up, Cleo.
Oh my gosh.
That's why he doesn't like you. You gotta yell.
Yeah,
she doesn't. I like to give her kisses, and she doesn't like it.
Well, we just answered the question. Okay, good.
You're annoying it. That's why it doesn't like you.
Yep. The truth comes out. I see how you are.
But my one dog, Joey, he can never leave my side, and I think that's what it is. The cat doesn't like that he's so close to me. Because she'll be eyeballing him. But the other night this week, I don't know if it was last week or this week, but Cleo's in the hallway just minding her business, and here comes Max walking down, because Max has gotten really close to me, which is really weird, because that cat and me, we used to always fight.
Aww.
But Max comes down, and he grabs Cleo and slam dunks her like it's the WWE.
Oh my gosh.
And all you hear is them,
I just love how you
do that. Walks away.
You have a wrestling and a basketball reference in the same thing there. You don't slam dunk anyone in wrestling, dude.
Oh.
You slam dunk in basketball. Oh my goodness.
You're mixing your metaphors.
And of course, no one's home because they all went to get Cloud from work. And I'm like, nobody saw this. So they're like, that never happened. I was like, I'm telling you it did. Because Cleo would not go anywhere near Max for a couple of days.
Oh, baby.
But it was funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I was like, that's what you get.
And then her daddy Chad came home and everything was okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they are fickle. It's phenomenal, though. I swear. I want to know, Miss Wanda, the bunny, was that a spur of the moment thing, or did your family contemplate? Yes, we know you want a bunny, and because didn't you say it's pretty new?
Yeah, we've had him for about 3 weeks, but okay. I've always wanted one, and I mean, I seen someone selling them, so I was like, you know what? There was one that I actually really liked, but then they didn't have that one, so we ended up getting this one. But I love this one. But yeah, I've wanted it. Nobody else said, "Oh, let's get a bunny," but I don't know. So it's pretty much my decision. But I have to get.
I love that. Oh no, that's awesome.
We have hamsters and fish too, but
yeah,
they don't really give them as much attention that they used to. So it's just like
that's.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Not to go off topic, but I just got an email and I'm like, oh my goodness.
What happened?
Apparently my ex-wife is moving to Texas, and I'm like thinking, in Arizona, you can't leave without a judge's approval.
Mm-hmm.
Because I pay $100 a month on top of my child support for transportation. It never happens.
Oh, jeez. That's still going on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a court date.
Oh boy!
And I'm gonna tell a judge. I'll be like, "Well, my kids want nothing to do with me, so this is ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
Let them go. Bye."
Yeah, but if they leave, then you shouldn't have to pay like anything. That's what my thing would be. Like, if she wants to take them to a different state, then I shouldn't have to continue to pay anything for them.
Right. Well, there is no transportation, and there would continually be no transportation. So why are you paying this $100 a month for it anyway?
Yeah, because like my thing is this: like when we got our court order, her and her lawyer submitted to the judge to have it reevaluated because they didn't like it, and he split it down 50-50 perfectly.
Okay.
And they didn't like that, and the judge is like, no, this stands. Because they were trying to like get another judge, and the judge is like, I'm the only family court judge here.
Oh, that's
how Phoenix is.
Oh, I hope that's just. Whew. No, you don't understand. I'm the only one that does this. But that's good. That shows consistency too, though, that there's someone that knows the history.
Well, it's funny because because she put due to economic conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're telling me that my $1,000 a month is not enough to help you, even though you and your husband have a job. Give me a break.
That's scary.
So she wants to move to Texas where all this shit's going down, like with the weather and stuff. Like,
yep.
Well, you know who's in Texas? Her brother.
Oh, is that why she's moving there?
I mean, you know the whole story about why they came out to Arizona.
I'm not sure, but you might have to fill me in sometime.
Yeah, I'll fill you in sometime. Because usually when trouble's on the rise, they love to hop the border.
Oh, goodness. Yeah,
but I mean, that's pretty shitty to move because, like, 2 of the kids, they're senior years next year.
Ew, you don't do that.
Exactly.
You don't do that to your kids. I mean, unless it's the kids going, I don't want to finish, I want a GED and get to work or college or leap, what is it, a gap year, whatever. But both of those kids aren't doing that.
Yeah.
Oh,
what a week. Yeah, because she never gets back to me on time. So when she asked for the medical cards, I purposely waited 5 weeks to give them to her.
Shoot.
Yeah, that's the kind of relationship we have. Like, I'm glad that I don't have to be around her.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. That's rough. I'm sorry, honey. And that just came in this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Sunday. Yay. Ugh.
But have you, like, a lot of questions I get from people is if I'm going to church anymore.
Uh-huh. I was actually going to ask you that the other day. Yeah. Did you find, and how? Are you online? Are you, talk to us about it.
Chad's looking at it online, but all of my friends in the Methodist church, like, you need to come back. And I'm like, I don't know if I should.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a while, like, I was like, I wonder what I would need to be a Jew.
Oh,
so I ordered.
What did you order?
I ordered the the book Being Jewish for Dummies.
Yes, you really did.
Oh, wow.
Dad's laughing at me so hard. And then like the local like Jewish church or temple, like I was watching it, and then I failed to realize that I would have to learn another language.
Okay. Yes.
And I was like, this is too much.
I cannot commit to this today. Yes.
But I mean, I loved everything about the religion.
Absolutely. It's highly respected or highly respectable. Yes.
But then I'm like, I don't feel like learning another language to keep up.
No, it is. I mean, if I can be cliche and say we're all on this path to find, satiation and satisfaction, and we're just not finding it right now, I cannot imagine what it means to be a religious leader right now. If I can share a story, my kids, and it's so sweet and so sad at the same time. So they've been doing youth group this whole time. So Sunday nights, and not consistently, but I'd say we're probably at about 60% involvement / attendance for both girls, and that was important for us. But again, parents, as you are, it's Zoom, and our kids ours are anyway in Phoenix, still all online right now. There is talk of going back fourth quarter, and that's awesome. But long story short, they are on, some kind of Google Classroom, Zoom / GoToMeeting, WebEx thing for most of their 5 days a week. And I just feel awful that, okay, and youth group. So Sunday night, we're there too. And my youngest's youth pastor did this really neat thing. She put the youth group for this semester, so January through May, that they are responsible for teaching something to the rest of the youth group. So like last week there was paper making, and the week before there were lanyards from scouting, and like my kid signed up for origami. So she's going to, fold some paper and teach. I thought it was awesome. I really did. And I was like, this is exactly, because those youth group leaders are volunteers. Yeah. They've been doing this through pandemic, and I can't imagine what their life schedules look like on top of, trying to organize kids on a religious basis. And I guess they got some slack or some blowback that this concept of the kids teaching the kids doesn't have much religious content. And the whole reason why I guess this certain family was doing youth group is to give them some religious content. And the youth pastor came back and was like, listen, I'm just trying to keep them engaged and entertained. That is all I'm trying to do. And I thought that was really, I hadn't thought about it in that regard. But this is supposed to be my youngest confirmation year, and that's not happening. So it's going to be delayed a little bit, and that's not a bad thing. If that's the worst thing that came out of pandemic, we're doing well. But yeah, the idea of the poor youth pastors having the pressure to be entertaining, to be engaging, to keep interest for, let's say, at least 45 minutes, right? And to teach something on a religious level. I mean, I think that's a lot of pressure.
When I was in Sierra Vista, I was a youth leader.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, because that was one thing. The parents pretty much, well, before the pandemic, they wanted the youth programs to pretty much be teaching them what they needed for in the church. Mm-hmm. And so I got creative, and I took a curriculum from a Catholic high school program.
Okay.
And I maneuvered it around and put like really cool videos in there, like music videos and stuff like that. And the kids loved it.
Yep.
But why would they not? As soon as I left, the kids left the program because the other people were stiffs, and they were like straight religious stuff. And the kids are like, this is not why I'm here.
Not why you're here. Yeah. It's got to be a fine line. I can't imagine what, and I would assume all youth pastors across every religion are going, how in the world are we doing this? And I know some of our friends who attend the larger churches are in attendance with pretty strict, to the best of my knowledge, pretty strict PPE rules with masks and sitting. So I wonder if it's a little bit easier to be in person. I know our particular church is not in person. It was going to be, and then it wasn't, and then we're still here. We tune in online. And unfortunately, sometimes it is just, in the background while we're cooking or doing something. And yeah. I don't feel like I'm any less faithful, but at the same time, it is a little disheartening, I think, especially for our kiddos. So I love that you're still on the path for trying to find what feels good for you and your family.
Well, we've been going to Calvary. We haven't lately since we've been doing the podcast on Sundays, so that's why we're moving it.
Yeah.
But like at Calvary, like they really separate you in there. Like they keep families together.
Yeah. Yeah.
They try their best.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of air flowing and all that. But I know like Crossroads, God bless them. Mm-hmm. They're not even using the buildings. From what I'm being told, it's all people spread out in the yard.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay.
And I'm like, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to catch COVID.
Right. But at least, they're lucky they have a yard to spread out in, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was laughing so hard for Ash Wednesday because
mm-hmm.
When I come home, I go past a Mexican Methodist church. I don't know if you know the one over on 59th near the highway.
59th near the highway.
I forget what it's called.
Coming off of Northern?
It's way before you hit Northern.
Okay. I can't picture it right now, but go ahead.
He had a drive-through going on where he was giving people their ashes.
Love it.
And I was like, oh, he is thinking outside the box. I
love it. That is flippin' amazing. Yes. Good for them,
Oh, yeah. And that's what you have to do.
Totally.
Yeah, because you have to think outside the box. Because I think a lot of people are just going to remain online with churches.
It's very possible. Well, think about. I remember, with the church that we were associated with, a ton of our parishioners would need people to drive them and pick them up and drop them off, and whether it was other parishioners or their family members or whatnot, and I don't know, it might just be a little more convenient for them to hang out in the comfort of their own home so they don't have to, mess with depending on somebody else to get them anywhere. And then they can be peaceful and meditate and do all of those things that we want to do instead of rushing around trying to get out of the house.
Yeah, and during the pandemic, I made a decision. I was like, even if I had a church home, I started tithing to K-Love. A radio station.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
honey.
Yeah, and the money because they're only like donations,
mm-hmm.
and they go to amazing programs. And because I researched it, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do, and that's what our family's been doing our tidings to K-Love.
That's amazing. Okay, that's really cool, Clayton. I respect that highly.
And I'll be honest, like we've had a lot of blessings, which I can only foresee how we've been treating others and how we've been running our lives, because I told Chad, I was like, a lot of things that have happened lately, it's just God showing that he's still there,
mm-hmm.
and he's putting us on the path.
I love it. And then those are beautiful reminders.
Yeah, because my school was like, how did you get hired at Banner? And I was like, they recruited me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, how did that happen? And it was on my LinkedIn. And I just told my school, I was like, this is definitely God's work. I was like, this isn't some just chance happening.
Yeah. And
I love that. That's what I tell my boys. I was like, you just never know.
You don't. You don't, but you're, like you said, you're putting good things out there, and you rearranged your lives so you can still, yeah, like I said, it doesn't make us any less faithful. It just makes us less motivated as far as, well, I don't have to get dressed and we don't have to, eat and force ourselves out. It's a totally different way to worship at this juncture. And if it works for you, awesome. And if it doesn't, then yeah, you get that Jewish book for dummies, for crying out loud, and you do the research. I mean, it's worth it. If you're putting the time in, it is absolutely worth it. So
yeah, because our one friend, he found religion, well, when he went to prison.
Okay.
And I'm not faulting him at all, but I was like a bit convenient. And it was a white collar crime, It's the stupidest thing. But then we're all like, all of us are like, now we realize where he was getting all that money from.
Oh, but anyhow. I see where this is going. Okay.
If he's listening, love ya. But I mean, we all make mistakes, and I mean, he is always posting about it, and it's Discovery Church, and they're big up in Prescott too.
Okay.
And we enjoy it. It's a small church, but I mean, if you're involved with it, like our family members up there have stepped away because it just got too intense. Yeah, because they were running the youth program, and then parents were pretty much dictating to my sister-in-law, you need to do this, you need to do this. And she said she just had enough of it.
Yeah. And it's at that point you go, no, you need to take over then, because you can clearly do it better than I can.
Yeah, and I can't even get my kids to go to anything youth anymore because they were just really burned from the last church.
Sure. Yep. No, that's incredibly reasonable. And I remember, I think we might all have stories that, when something's forced upon you, like, Sunday morning tradition.
Yeah.
If it's not working and the adults in your world can't see it and see how miserable you are, or see how the questions aren't being answered, or see how you're being made to feel less than, or whatever it is. We've all had those experiences, and wouldn't it have been wonderful to be able to engage in a conversation about, I don't understand why we do this. I don't understand why this person teaches this way. I don't understand why I have to do this in order to feel this way. It would just be life-changing and world-altering had we had those experiences back then. So I think you're just learning from your experiences, Clayton, and being able to see it in your kids that, wow, they're miserable, and I understand why, because I'm actually an involved parent. Okay, then we're going to stop that behavior and try and find a new experience for them to enjoy. But knowing that they've been burned, that's completely reasonable.
Yeah, because when I was growing up, my dad was Methodist and my mom was Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom was also a Methodist too, very active in the church. But she would drag me to Wednesday Mass.
Yeah.
But I loved it though. I mean, I really didn't pay attention to what they were preaching. I love that you got on your knees and prayed like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really enjoyed about it.
That's your time to speak with your higher power.
Yeah.
And so isn't that a good thing? Like, why why would we fight that? That's yeah.
Yeah, but then it's the whole thing, like my sister married a Catholic and they wanted her to convert and she was having a hard time with it. And so the church pretty much shunned her.
Shoot.
Yeah. And her husband. And I'm like, wow, that's funny because our grandfather donated millions to that church.
Interesting.
And I was like, yeah. And of course, they built a whole new church off of our family's money to them.
Uh-huh.
But you're going to treat our family like that. Like my grandmother, they excommunicated her for divorcing him.
No, I remember that story. You told me that.
Like, this is crazy.
Yep. Unreal. Only you can prop anything up and use it as a weapon, including religion or doctrine or anything.
It's just crazy, but I think COVID have brought all of this out. Like a lot of people see now everything.
Mm-hmm. In a lot of aspects, you're right. I think so too. Yeah. And it would be so easy to say, oh, well, I'm not really going to church so I don't have to tithe. Well, you still have pastors who are trying to make a living, and you still have buildings that are being, some are even being rented. They're not even owned by, the church or the facets of the church. There's just so much that goes on that, you don't see on the surface, that it's really a good excuse to be ignorant. And that's okay. I mean, some people can't tithe right now. I get it. That's respectable too. But because everything has changed, I love that you found your own way to make it work and to continue sharing. I just dig it.
Yeah, I've thought about joining a Methodist church around here, but then I'm like, the thing is, if I join a Methodist church because I already have my lay minister stuff done, they're going to try to rope me back in, and I'm going to be like, I don't got time for this.
Right.
But we do miss people from the Crossroads and all the other churches.
Sure.
Because, we go to Calvary in person, and it's nice because, they have such a beautiful band that sing the current Christian songs, and they are so good.
Nice.
And it's a really good. And he doesn't just preach. He is what you call he has a doctorate in biblical teachings.
Okay.
So he is a pastor teacher or whatever you call that. And when he is giving his message, it's a lesson.
Right. So it is scripture,
Chad loves it.
Digging deep and not just a personal story.
Yeah, Chad loves
awesome.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, but they're not really LGBTQ friendly, so we're still looking.
Yeah.
Because my family doesn't really feel Methodist-y, but I do because my whole family, generations going back to the beginning, were Methodist. So I'm like, oh, yeah.
There's tradition.
But what we miss is the camaraderie, because at Calvary, people weren't chit-chat,
Yeah, is that... I wonder, and maybe this is just you and I sharing too much. Is that a Methodist thing? Because
I think it is.
Is it? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because even growing up, my mom and dad would be like chit-chatting with everybody outside, inside.
And making plans, and we wouldn't go to lunch with the same people. We'd meet that family over there for lunch, and then the next week we'd just go home and we'd have tea on the porch with somebody else, and it was okay. I had a small Lutheran experience when I was younger, just because we moved around so much, and the town that we moved to didn't have a Methodist church. They had a Lutheran church, and I can't remember. I was young enough. I think I was in 4th or 5th grade, and I was young enough. I don't remember if it was chit-chatty like the Methodist church was. Yeah,
because even Blackish made fun of the Methodists in one of their episodes, because they're done with church. They're like, oh, we better get to Dennis before the Methodists get out.
Bless their hearts. Okay, so it's clearly a thing. All right, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. It took me this long to figure that out. That's funny.
Yeah, because even we visited bigger churches in Phoenix, and they were also welcoming to us. And that's what I told Chad. I was like, if you don't go to a Methodist, I don't think we're going to find that.
Yeah, it is weird. I have to say, if I can give a shout out. Am I allowed to do that? Wanda, do you do shout outs on here? I don't know.
Yeah.
I spent a couple of years, because our church I don't know if it didn't have it. No, it didn't have it, or else I wouldn't have gone looking. I actually found a amazing little church for women's Bible study, which I thought was really important at that point in my life. And I still think it's important, but I need it. I was actively looking. And Open Door in Phoenix, in downtown, or not downtown Phoenix, in 19th Avenue, and I think Northern, actually. But Open Door was the only, and they're a Bible church. They are, just kind of those amazing souls, and gave me exactly what I needed at the time. And I still keep in touch with a couple of their members, just good people. I didn't, and it's funny, I didn't necessarily, and it's nobody's fault but my own, because you're trying to fill your own soul and your family's souls. I didn't necessarily super feel comfortable in worship. That's my own thing, not their thing. But I did go to a different church for years for women's Bible study, and that's a gift. And loving, and when they say open door, it's incredibly true. Everyone is welcome. So that's, just a little plug for open door. But yeah, if that's what you have to do, I'm good with that. And we were doing Sunday service, in one spot, and I was doing Wednesday morning Bible study in another spot, and completely content for a long time until, kids started growing up, and I got a full-time job. So there we go.
Yeah, because in Sierra Vista, they did adult Sunday school.
Yes.
And and all the classroom, or it was before church.
Okay.
And it was, and they had asked, our one friend was teaching, the women's Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, oh, come join us. And we did. And it was all about women of the Bible. And we were like, wow. Like it was good programs that they had.
Yeah. Yeah. And did it feel like you were cheating?
No, because, because that was the problem with the church that we were going to. They were just used to, I guess, just stupid studies is what I like to call it, because I tried to help get them into something else, and they were not receptive to it. And that's most Methodist churches, I've learned.
Right, that the tradition is hard to break. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I mean, you need to branch out, because like we, down in that church in Sierra Vista, we did the Harry Potter Bible studies. We did all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they open up your perceptions.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. And isn't that kind of the point, is to see the beauty in everything?
Yeah, because I mean, I have my study Bible that breaks it all down. That's huge.
Yeah.
And because all of my church teachings, they were like, oh, we recommend you get this and this and this. So I would. And I was like, okay. And I mean, everybody has their own method, but yeah, I haven't really been, I always say that I'm going to do some Bible studies, but I never get to it during COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I give yourself some grace. It's good intentions. And we know that old proverb, but honestly, I can't tell you how many things I've started and not completed in these last, 11 months. So.
Yeah, because I keep track. Yeah, I keep tabs with my church back home, and they're a tiny little Methodist church. God love them.
Mm-hmm.
Now a congregation of 10.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, because everybody left, and everyone that's there is like the parents that were my mom's age.
Yeah.
And all that, and they're all still there, and I'm like, oh, because they'll like put photos on their Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I miss these people.
You need to come back and visit them.
I know that. Yeah, they're always like, you need to. Yeah, because they always tell me, if you're here, you can give the message. I was like, okay.
Totally.
But I mean, it's that old church with the church bell that would ring in the city and everything.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we're coming back to Pennsylvania, Wanda.
Well, it's been a while since he's been here. He needs to come back.
There we go.
I only come back for funerals.
Oh,
isn't that the sad part?
Or unless I'm at school. But now my schools don't go to Virginia when I go to school. I'm in Kentucky.
Oh,
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
You just need to come back for a visit. Bring your kids.
Chad doesn't do the snow.
Then leave him there. He can walk.
And it doesn't have to be next week. You've got your vaccine.
Well, Chad, like from our hometown, they love to eat, but not the most healthiest stuff.
Right. Right.
And I'll never forget when Chad asked for a salad when we were back home, and they're like, "What?"
Are you serious?
They have salad.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
where in the heck were you?
Yeah. Oh, what was that place? It's in Hollidaysburg. Oh, Dave's Dream.
They have salad there.
Well, it wasn't what you would think of a salad, you know, a before dinner salad.
Jeez.
Wanda's like, come on.
But then, you know, Chad loves his Mexican food, and in Pennsylvania, that isn't really a thing. And so we went to that one Mexican place, like on the boulevard, and like they, Chad was asking like if they had all kinds of stuff, and they had no idea what he was talking about.
Really?
Yeah, like no, it wasn't Chipotle. It was like a restaurant. I forget what it was called. I don't even think they're open now. I think it's where the Chi-Chi's used to be.
El Campesino. That's like one of the better restaurant, like Mexican restaurants around here. And they have all kinds of food.
If you compare it to the food out here.
Right.
Yeah.
We have authentic Mexicans that work in there too, Clay. Geez.
Oh my God. Yes, that makes it great.
Stop. Oh my goodness.
Well, we have illegals here in our restaurant.
Well, they're probably illegal here too, but
no, because there's a restaurant here in Glendale that they get all of their meats and seasonings and soda and everything from Mexico.
Oh wow!
And I forget what it is called, but it's an experience, and the food is really good. But you don't have that in Pennsylvania. Yeah, because if my kids see like if I have something from like the 1990s, they're like, "Oh my God, what was that 50 years ago?"
Sounds like mine.
Yes, it was.
Oh
no.
And then of course Randy's sister is like, "I'm a 90s baby," because she was born like in 99, and I was like, no. But my kids listened to the 90s music, and I was like, "Why are you listening to that?"
Oh my gosh! Now that you're talking about music. So Austin's in 7th grade, so he has music class now that's like different from let's play the recorder in elementary school. So they had an assignment, well actually a couple of them now, where they had to watch this video, which he didn't watch because he doesn't want to listen to the rock music that apparently was in them. But then he had a question, like a questionnaire type thing, and if he would have watched the video, then he would have knew the answers. So I had to help him with it. That child, he disturbed me so bad with this, and I'm like, how is it that you are my child and you don't have the same like love for music that I do? And I'm like, are you kidding me? So he's like, one question was like, how did this make you feel? He's like I wanted to kill myself. I was like, you are not writing that. And I'm like, dude.
Oh.
He's like, well, I don't like rock music. And I was like, yeah, but there's different types of rock music. They even were classifying country music as rock, which in a sense it is. And R&B and like soul and all that good stuff. But he got to like, I believe it was started to get into like 80s rock. And I was like, okay, now you got me. Because first it was 50s and 60s, and I was like, I knew some of what it was, like the answers were without like looking them up because of like my mom and her listening to that kind of music. But so you get into like the 80s and the 90s, I was like, now I can help you and I don't need to Google stuff. So I'm like helping him, and he's like getting all like disturbed because he doesn't want to listen to it, and he thinks it's the worst in the world. And I was like, no, you need to stop. He's like, I'm not listening to that. It makes me want to like jump off a bridge. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I got onto YouTube and was starting to play some music for him, like from the 80s, like hair bands and stuff. He's like, nope, don't like it. I was like, oh, child. And then I get into I played Blake Shelton for him. And yeah, he likes that. He didn't want to listen to Poison. Ew. But he likes Blake Shelton, and I was like, yeah. And I have a feeling like because country music is so much like rock music, or not rock music, but like rap, and that's what he listens to a lot of. Like it's just like a slower version of rap, and I'm like, I feel like that's why he like connected so much to country and not like the Poison or Journey or anything. And he's just like looking at me like, what is that? And then I played the Beatles for him once, and he's like, I like that. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, you listen to the Beatles and Blake Shelton, but heck with Poison. I'm like, get out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, at least your teens aren't always blasted in sync.
Do yours do that?
Oh no.
Oh yeah, like I'll hear the music that Cloud's playing and Rain's playing, and I'm like, are they playing my playlist?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I couldn't see Austin like listening to NSYNC or anybody else like that. But yeah, the day I hear that boy be like, have you ever heard of blah blah blah? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I have. You know, back whenever I was like your age, they came out, and he's like, oh, I thought they were new.
Yeah, that's what they said, and I was like, NSYNC was in the 90s.
Yeah, they're long before your time there, Randy.
Mm-hmm. So true.
My. Just because they might have a new album out now. Oh, and then he had to do something for English, and he had to write a soundtrack to his life. So he had to pick like 10 events or whatever and put a song with each one of those events. And then he's like, what's track number mean? I'm like,
oh,
what
wow.
is going on with you? I was like, that would be the number that would be on your CD or on your record. What's that? I was like, oh dear, Spotify, help me now, because even they're numbered. And I was like, it's the number of the song that you have to listen to. You know, like if you want to do like event number 1, I was born, and this is the song, and this is number 1. And then your first birthday is number 2, and then you're gonna pick this song, and that would be track number 2. And I'm like, what do you not understand about that? It took him so long to understand what I was talking about. I was like, things have gone so wrong. Like, what happened? Everything's like digital now, and it's just like even that. If you get on the Spotify, it still says number 1, number 2. It's still listed in order as it would be on a CD. I'm like, what do you not understand about that? You failed me there, kid, because I'm like, no, I'm thinking music class. I'll help them with that. You know, it's like math class. Help them with math all the time. But I'm like, music class, and he's like, has no respect for it at all. And I'm like,
I'm glad he finds something that he liked, though, like remotely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, him and Maren, they always want to like, have you ever heard of so and so? And I was like, who are they? One more of your dead rappers. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, okay. And or I'll be like, was this one in prison or dead? Because it's just like, it seems like all these people that they listen to now are either dead or in jail for something. And it's just like, what's going on that all these up and coming rappers that you guys are so obsessed with are dead? Like, why can't you guys listen to people from the early 2000s or the 90s that are still alive? Like, what is going on? Like, who's that? I was like, why don't you listen to them sometimes? You might like them. And guess what? They're still alive. But guess what? They're older than me. Oh, well, they're not cool then. I'm like, oh, okay. At least they survived the 90s and 2000s, unlike your people. And then one of his questions was like, what band has been performing for over like 50 years and still performing? I was like, oh, that's the Rolling Stones. And he's like, who are they? I'm like, oh. Boy.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world?
Well, on that note,
cutie pies.
I think that does it for the podcast today.
You're amazing. You too. I swear. And are you up every Sunday? Because when I when I look for you, I'm like, oh my gosh, you record constantly, don't you?
Yeah, we drop it every Sunday.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah, even 10 o'clock last week.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not 10 o'clock Clay, but yeah, I'm like 10 o'clock here, and I'm like, he's like, can you edit it and upload it? I was like, oh, I think I have a few minutes before I need to take my kids to bed. But
oh my God. Oh, so it was at 10 p.m. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Y'all are funny. Well, thank you for having me on. That it's been an honor. And I have to say, as much as I love to talk, This has been my first podcast invitation and my first podcast recording. So I am very, very honored.
Well, we are so honored that you were able to join us.
Well, Wanda will be planning our visit to Pennsylvania. Let's shoot for May. How's that? Does that work?
Yeah, that works for me.
I think we should. Clayton, this would be so fun. Your family rents an RV and my family rents an RV, and we just road trip across the country this summer.
Goodness.
That'd be amazing. What a podcast
hey,
that would be.
Before you guys do that, I don't know if you guys watch the one show on Bravo, the Don't Be Tardy. But if you want to rent an RV, you might want to watch that first.
Oh, is it scary?
Oh my gosh. We have been like so obsessed with watching a show whenever it's on, but this last season they went, I think it's like Family Vacation or something it's called. But they took an RV across country, but then flew home. But it was so crazy, some of the stuff that happened, especially the poor husband's driving this thing and everything keeps breaking. Oh my gosh, it's definitely an interesting show to watch. It's a reality show, but it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, what's crazy is they spent over $130,000 to rent this RV for 5 weeks, and I'm like, why didn't they just go buy one?
Seriously,
you could buy two for that price.
I just thought it as soon as you said that. And a nice one too. Ew, that's
and it's not like they don't have the money to do that. You're going to spend $130,000 to rent it. Well, the brand new one, have that. Of course, that's my logic. But then they're like, well, we're probably never going to use it again because they're like very high maintenance. So them to be like on an RV was like very out of their comfort zone. But like, I'd do it. I'd be fun with it. I don't know about taking my kids with me, but if it was just a couple adults or something, I could do it. I'd leave them off at a rest stop somewhere. I'm like, get the fuck out. You're done. You're off my trip. I'll tell someone to come pick you up. You're going home.
I shouldn't laugh, but that's funny.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
We started having them collect change into a bank and stuff. And I was like, you know what? And the bank's pretty big. So I was like, whenever that's full, there's your Disney World fund. And I was like, by that time, they'll be old enough to where I'm not going to want to rip their hair out by the time we enter the park. Yep. And I mean, the youngest one now is 6. So we still have a few years before I would actually be comfortable taking them. And I'm like, if it was just him, I think he'd be perfectly fine. But if not, and his brothers fight with him, and it's just like, I'm like, by the time that's full, you guys will be old enough to know, like, this is what we're doing, and you better behave, and just the way they are.
Well, and it's going to mean something to them because you made them save for it. Like, that's good parenting.
Yeah, I never had any desire to go there, but I figure if that gives them something to look forward to, they'll actually, you know.
Definitely. Yep.
I don't know.
Yes. Good stuff. Well, we'll rethink the RV thing then. But yeah, I would love to do some traveling this summer, and I do miss Pennsylvania. Wanda, my family is from all over Pennsylvania, and I haven't been back since 2002. No, that's not true. I went to a wedding in Philly in 2018, so it's been a couple of years. We're ready.
There you go, Clay. You don't need Chad. Chad can stay home. He's a party pooper.
You know what though? If Chad went, the cool part is Chad and my husband Chris got along really well and have the same kind of issues with their partners being Clayton and myself. Like, I could totally see Chris and Chad just chilling together while Clayton and I were all over the playground. It would be, I'm just saying, I think it could be fun.
There you go.
So,
think about that.
Thank you, folks. I will sneak off so you can do your closing thing. But thank you. I appreciate you more than you know.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, I feel the same way about you.
Thank you. Take care, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening to Our Crazy Lives with Clay and Wanda, brought to you by Anchor.fm. You can visit our website at ourcrazylivesofclayandwanda.com. you can head over to our YouTube channel, search for Our Crazy Lives with Clay and Wanda. Our Instagram, you can find us at Crazy Lives of Clay and Wanda. And our Twitter is at Crazy Lives of CW. And our theme music song is See Me Through.